Why is it so important to have a night like this? Why is it important to get the word out there and talk about what Telfer has to offer?
Well, you can certainly find all kinds of information online, and most people do that. But an event like this is meant to provide the personal touch, where at some point, prospect wants to come and talk to the program director, talk to alumni, talk to current students, and get a sense of what it's really like on the ground. So that's the point of this one. And this is for our professional programs like the MBA and the MHA, as opposed to our research programs. So the kind of student we want here is the professional who wants to accelerate their career along a professional management track.
And it's wonderful because you can see there's energy in the room, you can see the enthusiasm to just, find out more information about it, but also, most importantly, even candidates is already going through the program, and alumni that is sharing their insights, and it's wonderful to see the program directors too.
It is. It's a great evening.
Now, with me here today, we have the program director of the MBA program, Dr. Richards. Thank you very much for joining us today. And also an alumni of the MBA program, Auger. Thank you very much for joining us. We wanted to get a little insight from both ends of the spectrum, of course, from a program director. Dr. Richards, maybe you can share with us a little bit. There's people out there thinking, I really want to do this. Is this the right program for me? Is this something that I need right now? Where can it fit into my career? Maybe you can share with us what does the ideal candidate look like?
Right. Well, typically what happens is an ideal candidate coming into the program has been working for a while, and there's a sense that they can do more. They can change, they can move up, or they can move sideways. They have a sense that there's some things that they probably need to know about management, particularly at the strategic level. So understanding the broad aspects of how organizations work. They may be thinking that there are a lot of new things happening. This new world of work is out there, increased diversity, globalization, analytics, and so on. And so this is the right thing to do, is to retool and rebuild your skills and your competencies in order to make that career change that you want to make. So typically that's what we see coming into the program from the point of view of ideal candidates.
Now maybe you can share with me, Auger, a little bit from your perspective. Why did you decide this is the right program for you? Specifically the MBA program, and then I guess the MBA program with Telfer.
Well, I graduated from the MBA in 2005, and the reason why I did my MBA, like Greg mentioned, it was a career change. I had a scientific background, and I wanted to do a career change in management. And I decided to choose the MBA program in Ottawa because it was a smaller program. I could study in French and in English. I had someone that I knew that did the program, strongly recommended it, and I didn't regret it at all. I love my experience. I was part of all the events, and I did a lot of networking, and I really, really enjoyed it. The MBA program gave me the global perspective on organization, gave me the tools, the knowledge to be able to understand the strategy, to be able to work with data, to work with people, and deliver a result. So I strongly recommend to anyone that wants to go up in an organization, start their own company, or do a career change.
So Dr. Richards, maybe you can share with us, if anybody's watching this, they're thinking, okay, well, how can I get involved? When is the deadline? When do I need to get my application? And when do I need to start getting the process? I mean, a wonderful evening like tonight is allowing individuals to find out some more information, but when is the deadline for them to be a part of this program?
So for Canadian applicants, the deadline is May 15th. I was talking to a number of applicants or candidates tonight who are in the process. Typically, to get all of your documentation in, because it also requires the GMAT or the GRE, which are standardized tests that all candidates have to write, it's a couple months worth of preparation. So generally speaking, to hit the May 15th deadline from here, you have to start now, right?
Okay. So if you're watching this, you better get out there and get involved. I mean, David, maybe you can speak a little bit towards this. I mean, tonight is a great example of someone that want to get involved. And if you're watching this, make sure that once again you reach out. We will include a link to the actual application page and also the various program pages for you to get involved. But how can someone, if they missed it tonight, how can they engage with you? Do they just walk into the doors? Do they call you? Do they email you? What's the best way?
All kinds of ways of getting in touch with us. We have a graduate office just down the hall, so you can come in person on the 4th floor of the Desmarais building on campus. You can certainly submit an application online. You can give me a call. I'd be happy to send out my direct line. You could give Greg or Christina a call as well.
Perfect. So it's that simple, really. It's not as complicated, just actually taking that step.
That's all it is. Get started.
Now, let's just to kind of conclude, Dr. Richards, I guess the applicants that get involved in this, they are from a various both career stages. Some of them are maybe seasoned entrepreneurs, some of them are executives, as you say. What is wonderful about this program is that it brings these individuals together to kind of work together as a team and start working together in an environment where they can really hone their skills. And I've even spoken to a few of the candidates, and they've mentioned what's wonderful about it is that even individuals that come from a really strong business background realize from this program what is the key attributes and finally have found a focus that they should use to their advantage. Is there anything else that you want to speak to that really kind of makes this program unique and really supports that kind of approach?
I think the point of team learning or peer learning from each other is an important element in the program. Quite right. We have students, last year we had one student who was 52, and we have students who are just coming after their required 3 years of work experience. And we put them together in groups. We have students from a variety of different countries, from different areas like science backgrounds, IT, and engineering backgrounds. They do learn from each other. We provide the base knowledge. But in applying that knowledge, what happens is each of those different students from the different backgrounds helps to contextualize how these things are going to be applied in the work world. So I think that's one of the strengths of the program, is just the complete variety of backgrounds you see.
Wonderful, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for sharing with us a little bit more about the program. As we said, if you're watching this today, make sure that you take the time, go on the website, get some more information. Really, it's just about taking that step and asking the questions and having those conversations, because it is fascinating once you're in a room like this. You can see, once again, people's eyes are lighting up going, I considered this, but I never quite understood what the program really could do for me. So thank you so much for sharing more about that. For those of you that's here on Facebook or Twitter or even a live stream watching this, or even on the website for that matter, make sure you go check out the site to find out more with regards to the MBA program.
The Masters of Health Administration is one of the oldest programs in the country. And again, we need to make more noise with this program, because the health sector, the healthcare sector is or will be soon the largest sector in the Canadian economy. And it's facing funding problems, funding challenges, and it's growing in complexity. And you need to have a whole new set of managers who are prepared to take on that complexity. So Craig is very active in developing the program and moving it to the next step.
Wonderful. So Craig, Program Director of the MHA program, maybe you can share with us a little bit, once again, the ideal candidates that you are looking for the MHA program. We spoke about the MBA program. I'd like to hear your insight.
Yeah, so I mean, the ideal candidate for an MHA program, it really starts with somebody that has a passion for healthcare. You know, like David said, I mean, I think healthcare is probably Canada's biggest socioeconomic challenge. You know, we made great advances in therapies and surgeries and treatments, but in some ways we've made ourselves we're kind of the victim of our own success. We've done really good at sort of creating these complex patients that live longer than they used to, but the system that they're in isn't really designed to support that complexity. So, you know, it starts with a passion for healthcare. We want candidates to have at least 3 years of relevant healthcare experience. So the typical candidate, you know, we've had pharmacists, we've had people with nursing backgrounds, people with medical backgrounds, you know, people that have been physiotherapists that have had various roles in the healthcare system, and they want to take their career to the next level. They want to become a manager. You know, they want to entail more responsibilities, take a bigger leadership role in the program. And then I tell people, I think probably the third trait that we look for in people, we want people that want to come in here and trying to help us build a healthcare system that they would want to go into as a patient.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. It sounds so simple. It sounds almost like that. It kind of makes sense, the type of candidates that you really want. I mean, for someone, once again, that is looking to be a part of this, there is many other programs available out there, or other organizations that provide this program too. What do you think, what is that edge or something different that the Telfer program brings to the table?
Well, speak to what David said earlier as well. I mean, the MHA at Telfer is one of the oldest MHA programs in the country. Certainly, we've got kind of that legendary history to us. I think the biggest selling point for the Telfer program is that we're housed at a management school. Almost all the other MHA programs are either in schools of health policy, or they're in schools of population health, or they're in separate schools or separate departments. And I think because we're housed in a management school, our students in the first semester in the MHA, they get an introduction to the healthcare system, but they also take core MBA courses with the MBA students. So they get that management acuity, and they sort of get an introduction to management in general.
Wow.
But then in the latter part of the degree, we then focus the management knowledge solely on healthcare management challenges. So I think that's really one of our differentiating features, is that they really get that applied management thinking and that applied management skill sets that they're not going to get in other programs.
Yeah, that's spectacular. So maybe just to speak a little bit to the deadline. I mean, we just heard the deadline. I would assume it's kind of pretty much in the same realm. I would assume they would be. But once again, we just heard that there's a couple months process to kind of apply for that. What would be the process for a candidate for the MHA program?
So it's probably quite similar to what Greg described for the MBA. So I've talked to a few students here tonight at the event, and what we tell people is, so the deadline is May 1st for Canadian and American applicants, and it was back February 15th May 15th, for Canadian and American applicants, and it was February 1st for international applicants. And as Greg said, it takes a little while to get your application done, to write either your GMAT or your GRE, get your letters of reference, things along that line. So you probably want to give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks with the application process. And I think the most important deadline is probably for trying to get the GMAT or the GRE written, because it's a different type of exam, I think, than people are used to, because it's, unlike, say, an MCAT that tests your knowledge of biochemistry and physics and things like that, the GMAT or the GRE is really to try and test you to see how you think under pressure. So I think it's important to prepare for it and to practice it as much as you can.
Wonderful, yeah. Kind of like marriage.
A little bit like that, yes.
How do you think under pressure?
Absolutely. It's like you're going to get in there and you're probably going to find things are happening that you didn't anticipate.
Exactly.
How do you solve that?
Critical thinking on its daily application. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us more about the program. It's clear, wonderful that there is such a deep-rooted history to this program, the fact that you combine the management aspect to it as well, which is truly unique. And then, of course, just once again, the vibrancy and the support that you have for these programs on so many levels. Now, maybe just to hear from you, David, to share with us a little bit, once again, these programs, there's a lot of programs out there. There is a lot of options. The two we spoke about here tonight are definitely two that we really wanted to kind of highlight. But as you said, it just really takes someone coming to ask the questions, get involved, send the email, and you will respond and support them accordingly.
Yes, like we mentioned for the MBA program, it's as simple as getting online and hitting the Contact Us button or submitting the application form, giving me a call, giving Craig a call, giving the graduate office a call. It just takes that first call to get the whole process going.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, Doctor. Really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your insight, and so excited to talk about these programs. And for those of you that's joined us here live, and also whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or live stream, make sure that you don't just sit there, because here's your opportunity to get involved and truly take yourself, your career, and also just your personal development to the next level. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
It's been a pleasure.